We start the day's other headlines in the French territory of Mayotte, where officials say the worst storm in almost a century has devastated the archipelago. The main airport and hospital were damaged, and access to food and water are limited. French President Emmanuel Macron said he will declare a national mourning period and will visit Mayotte soon. William Brangham has this report.
As Cyclone Chido thundered across Mayotte on Sunday, locals cowered in fear. The eye of the storm took a direct route over the two tiny islands between Mozambique and Madagascar.
It was the wind blowing, and I was panicked. I was screaming because I thought it would be the end for me.
John Bellows took this video after surviving the storm. The official death toll is only about a dozen so far, but officials fear hundreds or even thousands might be found dead as the storm clears and relief and recovery efforts begin. Nearly 320,000 people live in the densely populated 144 square miles of Mayotte. The French military has a large presence on nearby Reunion Island, another French territory. Soldiers and aid teams deployed from Reunion, while the French Interior Minister made his way to Mayotte to rally relief workers.
There are still mountains to move, so everyone needs to mobilize. Everyone needs to be at their post and be professional. No panicking, no rushing.
On Reunion, Arnaud Darnilala was still waiting to hear if his brother and other family members in Mayotte made it safely through the storm.
When you see houses destroyed, you also see a lot of dead people, so it could be a member of our family. So yes, we're worried about them.
Mayotte is the poorest French territory and the poorest place in the European Union. In Brussels today, the French foreign minister said he would be asking for help from the EU to rebuild.
All my thoughts this morning are with our compatriots in Mayotte, who are suffering the tragic consequences of the disaster. The government and state services are fully mobilized to provide support, reinforcement, and security.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm William Brangham.
Also today, health officials in Gaza say that more than 45,000 Palestinians have now been killed since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Family members held funerals today for some of the 13 people killed in an Israeli airstrike on a school-turned-shelter in Khan Yunis. Hospital officials say that 6 children were among the dead. Israel claims that Hamas fighters were using the shelter as a command center. Across Gaza, Palestinian civilians lamented the death and suffering caused by more than 14 months of war.
We have nothing to do with everything that is happening to us. We did not do any wrong in order for this to happen. Innocent people die who aren't connected to what is happening. Children, women, babies. A boy is born, and 2 or 3 days later, we find him as a victim.
Gaza's health ministry says the real death toll may be higher than 45,000 because bodies are trapped in places that medics cannot access. It does not distinguish between militants and civilians in its count. Separately, Israel's defense minister said today that negotiators are closer to a ceasefire deal now than at any time since a temporary ceasefire took effect in November of last year. Ukrainian and U.S. military officials say some North Korean troops were killed or wounded while fighting alongside Russian forces this weekend. They are the first reported casualties since as many as 12,000 North Korean troops joined Russia's war effort in recent weeks. Ukraine's military intelligence agency says 30 North Korean troops were killed or wounded in the Kursk border region where Russia has tried for months to repel a Ukrainian incursion. The White House also cited casualties, saying that North Korean troops are now on the front lines of the war. In Canada, the country's finance minister is resigning from the cabinet, raising more questions about the political future of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Chrystia Freeland cited differences with Trudeau over how to confront Donald Trump's threat of tariffs as a reason for her departure. Freeland also served as deputy prime minister and had long been one of Trudeau's most powerful and loyal allies. Her sudden departure further isolates Trudeau, who was facing calls from within his own party not to seek a 4th term. Trudeau says he plans to stay in his role into the next election, which must be held before October. Here at home, New Jersey's governor says that drone detectors have found, quote, little or no evidence of anything dangerous or threatening from a series of suspected drones spotted in the skies above his state. Phil Murphy also called for Congress to give local officials more authority to deal with the drones. They were first spotted in mid-November and have sparked growing fascination and frustration ever since. Over the weekend, sightings at an Air Force base near Dayton, Ohio, forced officials there to temporarily shut down the airspace. And in Boston, city police arrested 2 men accused of operating a drone dangerously close to Logan Airport. Yesterday, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer urged the government to deploy better technology to track and identify the drones.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's a drone. And when it comes to drones, people in the New York area and all across the country have more questions than answers.
National security officials have stressed that the drones do not pose a threat to public safety, nor do they appear to be signs of foreign interference. A former FBI informant has pleaded guilty to lying about a bribery scheme involving Joe Biden and his son, Hunter. Alexander Smirnov admitted to a felony charge related to the made-up story, as well as tax evasion stemming from a separate indictment. Smirnov had told his FBI handler in 2020 that the Bidens had received $5 million each from executives at the Ukrainian energy company Burisma back in 2015. That false story was central to a Republican impeachment inquiry in Congress. Smirnov faces up to 6 years in prison. He'll be sentenced next month. Former TV host Carlos Watson has been sentenced to nearly 10 years in prison over charges related to his failed startup, Ozy Media. The 55-year-old was convicted last summer of conspiracy and aggravated identity theft charges. Prosecutors had accused Watson of playing a leading role in trying to deceive Ozy investors and lenders by inflating revenue numbers and hyping up deals that were not finalized or even real. Watson has denied any wrongdoing and has challenged his conviction. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed to start the week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped more than 100 points, or 0.25%. The Nasdaq jumped to a new record, closing well above the 20,000-point level. The S&P 500 also ended higher on the day. And Zakir Hussain, one of India's most revered classical musicians, has died. Hussain is credited with introducing the tabla to the world, elevating the hand drums from an accompaniment to a globally celebrated solo sound. Over a career spanning 6 decades, he collaborated with music legends, including former Beatle George Harrison, drummer Mickey Hart, and cellist Yo-Yo Ma. Just this year, he became the first musician from India to win 3 Grammy Awards in the same year. Hussain passed away Sunday in San Francisco after a battle with chronic lung disease. He was 73 years old. And still to come on the NewsHour, how CEOs of many major corporations are trying to curry favor with the incoming Trump administration. Tamara Keith and Amy Walter break down the latest political headlines. And Arizona farmers are forced to adapt their agricultural practices because their main water source is drying up.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.